Hi everyone, it's Michelle here, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Sean Taylor, Managing Director, and Gail Baker, who are from Lockforce, a franchise business, and we're going to share with you everything you need to know and more. So welcome both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us.
Nice to be here.
So Sean, let's get into what is Lockforce. How did it get started? Where is it now? And ultimately where it's going?
Wow. So there's quite a few questions there in one, isn't it? You've got them all out in one go. So we're Lockforce. We are a locksmith business trading up and down the country from Scotland down onto the south coast. It is all about locksmithing, but as you know that as we get into this discussion, there's a lot more to locksmithing than you can understand. But it was created 7 years ago. I would say it's been given a facelift about 3 years ago. We bought into the brand. We probably changed the brand. Things have evolved. So we're really sort of three years old, but it has got a history that goes back a number of years. And we've been focusing on not necessarily becoming the biggest, but the best. And how do we judge that? We judge it based on the reviews we get. So over the last 3 years, it's been a real focus of ours. As much as we are locksmiths, we are all about the customer. And that is just proven, and it's just a key measure that I don't think you'll find another locksmith in the UK with as many reviews as us. And it's a massive achievement, not from what we've done, but from what the guys have done. And that to me is a great mark of success in terms of delivery to the customer. But there's one other side of it, and that is to create an environment and a community for business people to grow and thrive. And I think, so from a franchise, there's two perspectives: deliver great service to your customer, and internally create a community that allows franchisees to really thrive and develop.
And how is the lock industry right now? Is it on a growth, spurt? Is it stagnant? Where is the lock world?
It's interesting. It'd be good. I think we're going to bring Ricky in a bit later on, and Ricky can certainly maybe give another view on it. But as I see it, as a layman, not technical, we're in an interesting time because of the internet and electronics. So we're seeing a lot more digitalisation coming in, home automation. So that's a big thing that is coming around. But when we get into locks are mechanical things, whether they're digital or not. So actually, whereas some people are saying, "Oh, the lock industry is dead," and things will always break, and they'll always keep us in work. People always forget their keys or will lose their phones. So the locksmithing is always going to carry on. I just think there's this different guise which is in the digital world and use of technology, which to my mind is a great opportunity.
So there are some changes afoot. Where do you see Lockforce growing? Where you're a UK-based business right now. Is there any plans to expand further into the UK or overseas?
Well, look, the UK is our focus. We do get quite a lot of inquiries about we'd like to expand your brand overseas, which is a wonderful thing, but we just ignore those. UK is the focus. We're over 30 franchisees, so we've seen real growth over the last 2 or 3 years, real growth. And that's really, really pleasing. What's also really pleasing as we grow, we're seeing other locksmiths kind of copying what we do a little bit, which is a bit of a sort of a stroke in some ways, but is our challenge to keep going. We have a good footprint, but obviously any franchisee's job is to grow further. We've identified 75 to 100 franchise areas. That's what we want to get to. We're only just over 30, so anyone joining now is in a good place because it's still relatively small, but we've got these great growth aspirations. And while it's about local delivery with local customers, we've also got this desire and a focus on growing the national accounts.
Okay, lovely. And Gail, obviously in your role in the development of the Lockforce network, but also recruitment of new Lockforce franchisees to take it from those 30s up to the 75s and into the 100s. What is it that you've seen change in the years that you've been involved in terms of the lock kind of world?
So I think the lock world has become much more technical. Is that what you mean? How that's changed. Definitely. Really, when talking to our trainers and the guys, there is always that challenge to keep on top of what's out there, smart technology, all of that. So that is something that we have to embrace. And again, I think part of us as a franchisor, our responsibility is to make sure that as we're bringing new people on, that they're aware of what's out there.
The innovation,
there's lots of innovation.
So Lockforce is a successful business. We've obviously taken it over the 30 mark now. We have a plan to grow it with obviously new technologies and our methodology and our prescription of the franchise model. What do you think it takes, Gail, to be a successful franchisee in the Lockforce world?
Yeah, I think it's about having the right attitude, that mental attitude, self-motivation, being willing to learn and perhaps change the ways that you might have worked previously, being, accepting that you are joining a franchise. That's the part of it, that, we've got a business model, we're the experts, if you like, so it's for being able to follow that. Of course, we encourage feedback. We love it when people in our training will sort of share ideas, and that helps us develop continually. But it's very much about being open-minded, wanting to succeed, and self-motivated.
And are we seeing more people, Sean, inquire about the lock opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's an industry that people are interested in. It sort of gets people thinking.
Yeah.
When you can imagine if you've got a day job, what do I want to do? And they look at the different markets, and there's loads of different franchises, some great franchises. But for some reason, locksmithing does, and don't ask me, we ask why, but they just I was just fascinated by it. Now, we do have quite a pedigree of armed forces people in it, so that security aspect, it's not the reason why it's necessarily called the force, as in Lockforce, but it seems to attract those, and they're disciplined, they've got the security background, if you like, so it's interesting in that regard. But the question that we want to ask franchisees is as much as, is why, why now, why are you looking, what interested you? Because we're interested in the individual. Is this the right individual for us as much as are we the right for an individual? It's a two-way process, without a doubt.
It has to be the right fit ultimately for you and for them.
Well, if you think about it, it's a relationship, isn't it? It's not we're selling a car where you can take the car and keys and go. This is a relationship that carries on. So that's a key thing for us. Get it wrong, it's not a great place to be. So,
but get it right.
Oh, it's brilliant. Love it.
There's a long-term, journey that you're taking these people on. Lovely. Well, thank you. So, Gail, let's get into the franchise itself. So there's a lot of detail around the franchise. Let's start with the investment, if we may. So, what does a prospective franchisee, what does a new franchisee get for their initial investment? Can you just share with us the detail?
Yeah. So. You get a designated territory. We only have one franchisee per area, and they own that area, so there can't be any other locksmiths within that, so they get that area. They also get the training, which is one-to-one training, and that's something that we're really proud of, and we'll talk about in more detail later. They get a really large starter kit. So that's on a marketing starter kit, as well as equipment and tools, that type of thing. The websites, I can go on and on. There's quite a huge sort of starter kit, if you like, that they get as part
which
of the
helps
franchise.
them effectively launch their business and continue to grow it.
Yeah, I think it goes beyond that. I mean, that's the very tangible way of looking at it, isn't it? Initial training, you can attribute a cost to that. Stock, you can attribute a cost to that. And then there's the license of getting involved. And it's interesting the amount of franchise or prospective franchisees that I talk to who don't always get it, and certainly a lot of commentators in their camp who say, it's a waste of money. But when you actually break it down and distill it, it's that ability to put the die in your favour, as in the risk and return. I think the facts speak for themselves that a lot of small businesses, in the first few years will fail. But let's be honest, you can start your own business. You don't always need a franchise. But it's interesting, I've spoken to one or two people who have come with business experience and want to buy into the franchise, having done it themselves, and appreciate what a franchise can do to accelerate you getting out there earning, because that's what one of the biggest killers for people starting their own business is not earning enough money quick enough to keep themselves sustained.
And buying into Lockforce propels them into that. It's a catalyst to getting them out and about from those starting blocks very soon.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, obviously we can talk about earnings at a later stage, but assuming once the training's been done, people can literally jump out of those starting blocks and start to deal with the inquiries that they've got on the ground.
Yeah, they all feel a little bit, I'm not very experienced, but they can get out there, and they're certainly much more experienced than the punters are, and it's just that, I call it the earn and learn phase. You can be in training as long as you like, but at some point you've got to get out there and start learning, and you're earning at the same time. It's a great time. That first phone call we get from everybody, I've done my first job, and they're excited, but that first job, they're just, it's a nervy experience on that.
But they've
first
got it.
job.
They've got it done. Okay. So Gail, a little bit more into the standard size of a territory then. So I get the rights to buy an area, let's say.
Yep.
How do you differentiate kind of one area to the next? Do you have a grading system? What is it that I'm buying?
Yeah, so we do have the UK digitally mapped. So we do it by chimney pots. So we do know what a territory looks like. Typically, it can be a postcode size, but obviously that varies from somewhere like London and then Scotland. So it's done on chimney pots, and also the sort of the road network type. We'll look and chat to the individual, because it can look that will only be so far for them to travel, but when they talk to us, they know the territory much better.
So we have territories available then of all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
Is there a particular, conurbation? Is there a particular strength of Lockforce franchisees at the minute in the UK? Have you got lots available, would you say?
Well, if you think we've got just over 30 in the network and we've got 75 territories.
So quite a spread of the 30?
No, it's interesting. If you put a pin and put a 30-mile spread around it, we've got some strength down the course. But we know we've got a few weak areas, weaker areas going into Wales, into East Anglia, down to Cornwall. There's a few weaker
But there's plenty of potential out there for
absolutely.
people watching.
Opportunity.
Absolutely, and gone are the days of just getting a pen and write, there's the territory, mate. It's a lot more scientific than that. And to dispel one of the dispel two of the myths, sorry. One is I need a large territory because it's really, I need one.
So size doesn't matter.
Size doesn't matter. And the other thing is, it's hugely competitive where I am. I mean, these are all bullshit. It's not about that. We know what makes it work. And competition isn't one of those things that you should factor in, because we've got some people who want to barter on the price, don't we? Because I'm in a really competitive area. Well, I can tell you, we have people working in deprived areas, people working in high class areas. It doesn't matter. The difference is how you do your work and how you go about it.
So let's get into the detail of an ideal franchisee.
My word.
Absolutely. Well, there is a word in itself. Is there a particular franchisee that we know is going to make it? Are there characteristics? Are there skills? Are there assets that they bring? What are you looking for in your ideal franchisees to join the growing Lockforce network? Gail, I'll start with you.
Of course we have an avatar, but it definitely comes down to individuals, because how someone can appear on paper, for instance, and then we meet them face to face, because it's very customer focused. At the end of the day, the individual needs to be really customer focused, potentially passionate about doing a good service, but also, yes, they do need to be able to do the technical stuff and the ability of being able to be trained.
The technical stuff can be trained.
Yeah, that can be trained. But I think attitude, isn't it? Very much, having that right attitude, it is what we're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the positive attitude is definitely, and it's completely underestimated. This whole mental resilience thing, until you run your own business, you don't understand it. So I think that is important. You've got to love getting up in the morning. I talk about love getting up in the morning, so that it doesn't matter what you've got to do, you're going to love it. When you come from a day job, or you've had that drudgery of hating Monday mornings, we're looking for that. And we asked that question, and we said it in a previous conversation, is why are you doing this? Why now? What made you think about? We want to know what's in you.
What makes them tick?
Yeah, absolutely. Because otherwise, it just doesn't work. It really doesn't. And we also want to understand the personal circumstances of that individual, because timing is a big thing.
It has to be the right time.
We've certainly we have spoken to some people that it's just not the right time. They seem great, but they're not sure whether they want to live in this area, and they're thinking of maybe moving. We say, well, there's no point setting up a business now if you're thinking in 6 months you need to move. You're better off moving. And
do you say no to people?
Very much so.
Yeah,
very much so. Look, it's about 85 to 1. We talked about 85 people before they recruit, and that's not us saying no to 84 people. A lot of that is self-selection. So, we are not here just to throw rose petals down and make it easy for someone to come in. We've got to attract the right people for the right reasons at the right time.
So there's a lot of due diligence, and you encourage due diligence from their part, and also you do it yourself. So you'll have multiple conversations with prospective franchisees.
Yeah.
Do you get to see them face to face?
Yeah,
we have to.
Definitely.
And you encourage that?
We have to. And we make it very easy for them to say no at any time. because it has to be that type of relationship. It has to be right for them and for us. You know, whilst they're assessing us, we're obviously assessing them. But, you know, at any time, we have to have it that if it's not right.
Is there a formal application process that you go through with people?
Formal, would you call it? I suppose you'd call it formal, as in we have a process. I mean, do you have to fill in an exact application form like you would a job? No. Do you have to give us information at the right time and demonstrate certain things? Absolutely, absolutely.
But ultimately, you have a reputation to uphold, and you want the right people to be joining your network as well,
it's really important.
for the benefit of the existing network, but also for the benefit of the future too.
Yeah, we would. I mean, I look at somebody. You can train lots of things into people, but can you have a conversation? Are they going to represent you? Are they going to be able to communicate with people in unfamiliar circumstances? Because essentially, we just said it's about customer service. If you can relate, be empathetic to people, you'll be good at your job.
And your most prolific, successful franchisees in Lockforce are the ones that relate to people, are the ones that are training, are the ones that are getting out there and making stuff happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Always.
Lovely. All right. Thank you.